Hello and welcome to my channel. Today, thanks to my wonderful patrons, I bring you some Lord of the Rings lore. This video is dedicated to Arthur, and this series was created at his request. I hope you enjoy. 3 rings for the Elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for the mortal man doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. Only a fragment of JRR Tolkien's towering epic plays out on the silver screen. The more bookish of this sprawling fandom know well the vast depths of Tolkien's mythos, unfinished though it sadly is. Born from the deep love Tolkien held for his children and a desire to create tales for them, his heart's work would blossom into an epic folklore to match that of the ancient Nordic and Greek sagas. So let us start at the setting of the board, where all the battles to come were born. The Inulin Delay. There was Eru, the one who in Ada is called Ilúvatar, and he made the first Ainur, the holy ones that were the offspring of his thought. The singularity Eru Ilúvatar is the prime mover of Tolkien's universe and the source of all creation therein. His instruments were the Ainur. These entities can be thought of in classical terms as archangels or the gods and titans of Greek and Roman mythology, if you prefer a less ecclesiastical simile. Each of the Ainur was a manifest aspect of Ilúvatar himself, but they were no mere shades or even puppets of their creator. Within each burnt the flame imperishable, which gave them both existence as well as freedom of thought and will, bound and born though it was from that isolated fragment gifted by Ilúvatar. Well, that was true for all but Malkor, for within him was housed not only the greatest gifts of power and knowledge, but a share of the gifts Ilúvatar had bestowed upon all the other Ainur. Now the creation of the Ainur is separate and predates the creation of Ea, the universe, the very space-time within which the story of the Lord of the Rings plays out. The Silmarillion speaks of a void endless and empty save of Uru and the Ainur. In fact, these beings have no shape save for thought and light. Time seems to have no meaning in this before, though events occur. We are told that the Ainur, newly born as they were, needed time to come to understand themselves and more still to comprehend their brethren. The primary medium of this exchange of thought and self taking the form of music. In fact, the very fabric of Tolkien's universe was quite literally sung into existence. This great symphony of creation was called the Inulin Delay. Ilúvatar posed 3 themes, and each of the host of Ainur added to the opus, shaping the cosmos in chorus with Eru. The Silmarillion describes this creative masterpiece in loving prose, its perfection and harmony faltering and flaring to chaos then order in each of its movements. A unity and system, yet an imperfect one, save as so far as derived still from the eldest theme of Ilúvatar. Indeed, Ilúvatar was the conductor of this creation, introducing themes and ideas of the world to be made as the Ainur spun those themes into ever more complexity. The discord in this unity sprang from but one Ainur, Malkor, he who arises in power, the most powerful of all the Ainur, and the main antagonist of Tolkien's universe, yes, not Sauron. To me, he seems the personification of the failings of humanity, callous vanity of those consumed by selfish pride, the insecure, obsessive hubris of those who seek to dominate, the depraved violence of those devoid of compassion and empathy. This single dissenter spun chaos into the very fabric of the universe and gave rise to all the ills of Ada, but also blessed it with a beauty and glory unattainable in its absence. You see, everything was contained within this music, the totality of history, not just the physical matter of the realm. The cosmic balance and struggle all born out of Eru and manifest in the Ainur. The echoes of Catholicism are not lost on me, with the the glaring contradiction of the creation of evil and the kind of kabuki theatre war in heaven, the shadows of which play out in Tolkien's great work. For the third and final movement of the Inulin Delay, this is what Tolkien wrote. Ilúvatar lifted up his right hand, and behold, a third theme grew amid the confusion. It was unlike the others, for it seemed at first soft and sweet, a mere ripple of gentle sound in delicate melodies. But it could not be quelled, and it grew, and it took power to itself and profundity, and it seemed at last there were two musics progressing at one time before the seat of Ilúvatar, and they were utterly at variance. One was deep and wide and beautiful, but slow and blended with an immeasurable sorrow, from which its beauty chiefly came. The other had now achieved a unity of its own, but it was loud and vain and endlessly repeated, and it had little harmony, rather a clamorous union as of many trumpets braying upon a few notes, and it essayed to drown the other music by the violence of its voice. But it seemed that the most triumphant notes were taken up by the other, and woven into its own solemn pattern. Amid this strife, whereat the halls of Ilúvatar shook, and a tremor ran out into the silence yet unmoved, Ilúvatar rose a third time, and his face was terrible to behold. Then he raised both hands, and in one chord, deeper than the abyss, higher than the firmament, piercing as the light of the eye of Ilúvatar, the music ceased. Then Ilúvatar spoke, and he said, "Mighty are the Ainur, and mightiest among them is Melkor, but that he may know, and all Ainur, that I am Ilúvatar. Those things that ye have sung and played low, I will show them forth, that ye may see what ye have done. And thou, Melkor, shall see that no theme may be played that hath not its utmost source in me, nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he who attempts this shall prove but my instrument in the devising of things more wonderful, which he himself hath not imagined." And so he did, sharing a vision of all they had created within the music. The life of the world played out before them, the creation of the heavens, the forming of Ada, and it was beautiful. And there were too many things the Ainur witnessed in the vision that they had no knowledge of, nor hand in making. Prime amongst these revelations were the children of Ilúvatar. These were elves and men, imbued with that same divine fire of creation, that flame imperishable which burnt within each of the Ainur. But the gifts which Ilúvatar bestowed upon his children were different, lesser in many ways, and yet just as profound. Elves and men were incarnates, a union of both spirit and body, unlike the ephemeral Ainur. Their fates were bound to Ea, the universe, and Ada, the world. For the elves this link was inextricable, unlike that of men and the Ainur, but they were no less kindred as offspring of Ilúvatar himself. The children of Ilúvatar differed too from one another. The elves were the firstborn, their rising predating that of men by many thousands of years. Their life linked not to a mortal span of years like men, but to the ages of the world itself. Elves, upon reaching maturity, did not deteriorate or sicken like mortal beings. They aged in a different sense, becoming ever more weary of the world and burdened by its sorrows, dwelling evermore in the memories of all that had passed. Now their corporeal form could, in time, dissipate, being consumed by their own spirit, themselves becoming unseen. You see, an elf's body could perish, be it through time or injury, but they are bound to Ada, their bodies to its seen material realm, and their fear or spirit to the unseen realm, what we would think of as a spiritual plane. Elves too can reincarnate, their spirits being reborn into a new body, but unlike the reincarnation of the Buddhist faith, where upon judgment a new form is taken, elves are reborn with their original body made new. Now, of course, there is much more to this, which I will cover in another video, but for our purpose here, let us just say that an elf's lifespan, be it physical or spiritual, matches that of Ada, and humanity's can be counted in decades, and for the first men, 9 decades was not uncommon. Now, the gifts of Ilúvatar to his children differed too. The elves were given great beauty and skill in arts and crafts, as well as very keen memories. Understandably so. Men, however, were gifted the freedom to act outside the boundaries set by the music of the Ainur, by the music of creation, and eventually will be given supremacy over Middle-earth. So in the before, the Ainur bore witness to much of the history of Ea and Ada through Ilúvatar's vision, the first and second themes being dominated by the Ainur and the hand they had in the creation of the cosmos, with the third theme and the 2 musics giving rise to the coming of the children of Ilúvatar. Many amongst the host of Ainur were enamored with the beauty of the world they had helped create, and filled with wonder and love for the children of Ilúvatar. Some would forever depart this place out of time and their father's side to enter Ea. These beings would become known as the Valar, the builders of this burgeoning cosmos, devoted to bringing about all that had been promised in the Inulin Delay. And that is where we leave our tale for today. I hope you will join me next time when we explore the Valar and their burdens as they labor to ready the world for the coming of the children and, of course, their chief antagonist, Melkor. Let me know in the comments what you think about this new series, and whilst you're down there, please do like this video if indeed you did like it, share it if the spirit of Ilúvatar moves you, and do subscribe if you want to learn more about the wonderful lore of Tolkien's universe, and please do show some love to Cody, Kildare, Cub, Molini, Jolly Joestar, Dark Griever, and all my wondrous, fantabulous Patreons, without whom I would be unable to dedicate the time and resources I do to my channel. I can never thank them all enough. If you would like to join them, links to my Patreon page below. But until we meet again, may Elbereth ever be your light in dark places.